Today on The Social, Madonna and Elton John have finally buried the hatchet after a decades-long feud. But are all grudges this easy to squash? And the CEO of Shopify puts artificial intelligence on the front burner. Is this a troubling sign for how AI can drastically affect the workforce? Then dive into the depths of Nova Scotia's Death Coast, a day in the life of a treasure hunter on a mission to strike gold on Lost Bounty. Plus, unwrap the secrets of the viral Dubai chocolate bar, the milk chocolate marvel packed with pastry and pistachio that keeps on giving decadent delight. It all starts now on The Social.
What did Derek give you out in the lobby to have an entrance like that? His energy. Yes, true. Well, listen, welcome. It is Tuesday at The Social. Welcome to the show. We'd like to welcome back writer and podcast host B. Quammie. Love to have you back. Be an exciting day for you, which we're going to get to shortly.
We will.
But first, let's mix it up with this. I don't know if you all heard, but Madonna and Elton John, they are making headlines today after the Material Girl shared on Instagram that the two had buried their hatchet. Their public feud caught fire. It was actually starting way back in the early 2000s after Elton John repeatedly accused Madonna of lip syncing. Madonna wrote on Instagram recently that he came over to her at SNL this past weekend and said, "Forgive me." And she added that, quote, "Forgiveness is a powerful tool." Aww, that's so nice. B, what do you make of this story?
So, you know what's interesting is I don't know where my brain was in the early 2000s. I didn't even know they had a feud. So it's nice to know that they patched it up. I just wasn't aware. But what it made me think of was actually really recently, I had a situation where I also confronted somebody who I had been carrying a lot of anger and a lot of issues with that I had never really let out. And it ended differently than Madonna and Elton.
Okay. So it wasn't kumbaya at the end.
It wasn't kumbaya.
Gotcha.
Well, it wasn't anything. It was like, there was nothing. I got no apology, no real acknowledgement. Meanwhile, Madonna got acknowledgement, apology. But what it made me think about is the fact that I'm sure Madonna feels great in this moment that they've patched things up, but I also feel great too in a way that I didn't think I would without getting that closure.
Because it was more about you than it was about them.
It was more about me in this moment getting it off of my chest than it was about receiving back what I felt I was owed, which took me a long time to get there. So I kind of heard about this Madonna story and I was like, you know what? I feel just as good as Madonna right now, even though it ended in two different ways. So I think things like forgiveness, healing, closure, we often want that other party to be just as involved and reciprocate the same amount of emotion and all of that we have, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So you have to figure out how do you make that work for yourself.
You know we call that big. That's growth, girl.
Growth.
Yeah, exactly. Maturity and growth.
That's
I
great.
love that for you. The first thing I thought was, oh, two difficult pop stars who didn't like each other. Surprise, surprise. We all know Elton was a very challenging personality. Madonna's a challenging personality. Anybody, even if you didn't know, and you're right, I didn't know the story either, I'm not surprised that they had a little bit of a row, but I also feel like taking it away from the celebrity angle, don't you feel like we do this in our normal lives with our friends, co-workers, family members, where you have a little row about something that's really a nothing burger, but then the communication doesn't happen. So then you guys go to your corners, you don't talk for years, and then you run into each other, and now you're old and gray, and you're like, what were we fighting about? I don't even remember. I forgive you too, because I cannot remember, thanks to perimenopause, what we were fighting about 20 years ago. So you good, and then you move on, you take a picture, and it's all good. And I feel like that's something that we can kind of relate
I mean,
to.
I think that's really interesting. I don't know if that's what this was, because it sounds like this was kind of a passionate hate. Like Elton John, I had no idea about this.
Yeah, am I the only one who knew about it? I've been following it. Listen, I love Madonna. I knew about this when it first started, and the first year it was actually 2002. This is an old grudge.
So he went on. I mean, he's called her names. He went and during acceptance speeches was calling her out. Like it was on and on. I'm not familiar if she said anything in reaction to that. I think the mudslinging was going in one direction. So they're backstage. He sees her and he immediately is like, "Forgive me. I'm so sorry." Right? And then he said something about how I've written a song for you. Does that sound like he maybe pulled that out of his butt? I do not know. But what I'll say is about this type of passionate hate towards someone, I think we've all experienced that feeling. It's a very ugly, gross feeling. And usually I will say there are two reasons behind it. If you feel that kind of passionate hate, is that person, you want something that they have. It's either that or it's that they remind you of an aspect of yourself that you don't want to look at and that you deeply hate. And that's why maybe it comes down
I feel
to
like we need to lie down to get this message with our therapist.
Just telling you, it is a real
invoicing us later.
It is. It's when you feel that kind of thing come on, the best thing you can do is to not channel that anger outwards. Is to try to go inwards and go, what is going on with me right now that I'm getting inspired?
But you're totally right, and I love this side of you. But isn't it okay to be a little bit angry and hold a grudge?
I just don't think it helps.
Asking for a friend, I don't think it helps for decades, but I think initially it kind of helps. And I'll tell you why. I don't think that rage and anger is necessarily a negative thing, especially if it pushes you somewhere. So, for example, there was a terrible roommate. I might have shared this story on the show before, but I had a terrible roommate. 4 of us were in a place together. We were in our early 20s. Careers are just starting, and it was hard to make rent. It was a nice place, but we had to pay. This was even earlier. I mean, we know it's unaffordable now. Anyway, she started to steal from us, and then it took months, but once we caught on, we found all of our stuff, and she wasn't paying her end of the bills. She snuck out in the middle of the night and left us high and dry. She grabbed all her stuff and she snuck out. And you know, we were so poor. And so it just hurt on so many levels because she was a good friend. So I found her place where she moved to.
Of course you did.
And all the garbage she left behind, the dead plants, the clothes, all the things, I put it all in garbage bags. And in the middle of the night, I strewn it right across her front lawn.
One of us doesn't have a sort of petty side, and there's something delicious about that. But I will say, if we ever expect for there to be world peace, we have to get past this kind of instinct. I'm just saying. Okay.
Very true.
Anyways, if you've been watching The White Lotus, you of course know about Patrick Schwarzenegger's Smoothies routine. Like, he had a lot of them. For many, it's become a symbol of his character's toxic masculinity with a heavy dose of wealth and privilege. This got us thinking, do you judge a man based on what he eats at all?
Yeah. Okay, let's just be honest. I judge men on one guy shaking his head no.
That's my brother.
That's your brother?
His head, yes.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, we judge you guys on everything. From this. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. We judging everything. But I really didn't think about what a man ate until there was a guy that lived in my building, tall, good-looking, well-dressed, little muscles I could see underneath the shirt, and I was like, okay. So, you know, you start with a nice little hello. So every time I saw him, I'm like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? And then I noticed every time I saw him, he had some kind of junk food, like 3 pizza boxes, or a bag of junk food, or like a box of donuts. And then I was like, wait a second, do you eat a vegetable? And then I started envisioning his old dirty fridge and that his apartment wasn't clean. Like, it just gave me a really bad taste in my mouth. So I do judge. I'm sorry, I do judge. I need to see a vegetable, a protein, something. So I think I'd actually rather the bro dude who's drinking smoothies than the guy who's just eating garbage all the time.
Amen.
No, right? I agree. And you know what my thing is with the junk food? Because at first I thought, I don't really want to judge unless they're being unhealthy, right? And it's an unhealthy diet. I do think somebody might judge. I steal fruit snacks from my kids when they're sleeping. So somebody could judge that.
Don't you buy those fruit snacks?
Well, I buy them. So they are technically kind of mine.
Yeah, those are yours.
But the thing with the takeout is, like, if you keep getting takeout because you don't know how to cook and then you're looking at me like I'm the one who's going to cook for you, that's when I'm going to have a problem. So I need to understand the impetus behind the food decisions before I get myself into a situation that I don't necessarily want to be in.
Okay.
So, you know.
I mean, is it wrong to say, like, I would date Patrick Schwarzenegger? Is that wrong to say?
No, we would all date
Smoothies together.
Character? Based on the fact that he loves protein smoothies as much as I do.
Okay.
I can see that for you.
You're looking at his smoothies. Okay, Melissa, all
It's
right.
the smoothies that lead to the abs and the quads and the delts and the chest.
face.
Anyway, moving on. Let's take a break. Shopify employees, they have been told, prove that AI cannot do a job before you can hire somebody new. So is this the future of work, the workplace? We're going to dive into AI and what is in the future right after this.
Tomorrow on The Social, behind the scenes of the legendary Nubian show, Kenny Robinson tells us how he created a launching pad for Canada's who's who of comedy. This week on The Social, Oscar-nominated screenwriter and best-selling author Emma Donoghue takes us on a thrilling ride through a 19th century railway disaster.
Social media. If you want to have your say on any of the topics, that's where you can find us.
All right, so let's dive into this next one. Shopify CEO Toby Lutke told staff in a memo that no new hires will be approved unless they can prove AI can't do the job. That's right. Is this a troubling sign for how AI can drastically affect the workplace? You guys are booing. So, Cynthia, I'm going to start with you. What do you think?
I mean, is this a troubling sign? Yes, it is a troubling sign, but we've seen the signs increasing that AI is going to drastically impact many of us in ways that I don't think we can fully see. So I think that therein lies the anxiety. But for me, I don't know. Maybe it's because I can't worry anymore about anything. My worry limit, I'm at my limit. I'm just sort of, somehow I've seen an optimistic side of all this. I feel for what's going to happen and what I'm hopeful for is that we are going to crave more interactions with humans as a result of this increasing use of AI. So there are going to be jobs that pop up that we haven't even thought of yet. And so, yes, maybe factory workers will be impacted profoundly, but maybe that also gives them the opportunity to do different types of work, human-to-human work. Maybe it's more closely aligned to their value system. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but I can see that
it's going to maybe happen overnight. It's happening very fast.
It's happening.
Yeah, that's the fear. Yeah.
What do you think, B?
So for me, I mean, AI is a huge umbrella term, right? So I'm always very careful about not just, saying all AI is bad, because there's a lot in AI that we use that we don't even really know we're using, right? And there's a lot of AI developments that are helping things to be more accessible for people. So I don't want to just have this blanket statement that all AI is bad and it's going to ruin humanity. For me, the most personal connection for me is as a writer, as a creative, I do not touch anything generative AI. I am offended by the idea that a computer can do something better than I can do it when I know that art is about soul and humanity. So that's a no for me. No chat GPT, none of that. I'm not asking it to do anything for me because what's the point of me being here? What's the point of me having this life?
Okay, you're a writer. You just sparked an interest for me because I have allowed my daughter to start using ChatGPT in the household, and she loves to write.
So what, does she use it to help her with her writing?
She uses it and co-writes with ChatGPT.
Interesting.
She has written a 200-chapter novel. And now that sounds ridiculous because it is. But what I'm allowing her to do is to play with this because to me, AI, I agree. I don't think we should all be scared of it, but it's like the dawn of the internet. We were the last generation to be born without the internet, right? And do you remember when the internet hit the scene? It's like adapt or die. We figured it out. And the people who never caught on to the internet, which may be older generations, they are forever struggling. This is our internet moment. You have to learn it. Don't be scared of it. Learn it because it is going to change our lives and in fact already is. Speaking of ChatGPT, I asked ChatGPT, what are the professions that are unlikely to be replaced by AI?
Oh, you asked? You went to the source to see?
They better say talk show host on that damn list.
I'll go through some quickly. Surgeons, mental health professionals, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, some teachers and professors, artists, writers, designers, lawyers, judges, CEOs, social workers, community outreach workers, sports coaches and trainers, chefs, culinary experts, electricians, plumbers, construction workers, athletes, scientists, and researchers.
So let me ask you a question.
That's a lot of jobs.
Those are the jobs that ChatGPT said AI will not impact.
Will not replace.
Okay, ChatGPT is already lying because so many people, I'm being very serious. There are a lot of people I know on social media who say they cannot afford a therapist. They do not have health benefits. They go to ChatGPT.
I see that as an equalizer. That's a different thing than my sister's a therapist. There will never be a replacement for human-to-human contact. What it can do is allow for people who wouldn't necessarily have access to it to get different information. I think the choice will always be first. We are connective creatures. We need each other. And I think that this switch over is gonna, I looked at, we were talking earlier about how are we worried for our children. Like, I'm not worried for Jaya as much. Are you still worried?
I'm terrified.
I'm not worried. I'm just concerned as to what it looks like because I'll be the pessimist in the room because I've always, every time we have an expert on, I'm always like, AI is great and I understand all the benefits, but I feel like the technology is moving light years ahead of us and I don't know if we're ready to catch up. Also, the government is never ready to regulate this technology and that's why I have concerns. And when I look at it, like, I'm not concerned for my career because I'm in the third act, honey. I'm rounding out, I'm almost out of here, but I am looking at your kids and I'm thinking, okay, so is the curriculum that they are being taught under preparing them for this future, right? We've also always funneled children into post-secondary education. Is that still necessary for parents to put out thousands of dollars for their kids to get a sociology or a psychology degree? Or is that a waste of time? And is anybody talking to this generation and their parents about this shift? That's my concern. Is the conversation being had about how you have to shift and those jobs that perhaps your dad had
the traditional, because the way that we all came up, right? Most of us listening and watching, we came up with you go to school, maybe some kind of post-secondary education, you get a job, and Bob's your uncle, right?
Yeah.
I actually don't know the future of higher learning. Bill Gates last week was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. He's got a brand new book out, and he said that, you know, a huge number of jobs are going to be replaced within the next decade, not the next 20 years, not the next 30. That is our generation, and it's our children's generation. So I don't know if we have the clip or we just showed it.
No,
are we going to play it?
We don't have the audio. The B-roll.
And so basically, that makes me wonder. He says the phenomenon is called free intelligence. If you can get all your information online for free, what is the use of a university degree?
This is where you kick into EQ, like emotional quotient or like intelligence. And like I'm focusing on making sure that Jaya knows how to relate to other people, how to be emotionally intelligent, how to do skills like coding, definitely important, music, arts, the arts. Like I think if I can make him be a good human being and with confidence and like, you know, energy and thoughtfulness, he's going to figure it out. I think we have to be less focused on like academia. We have to be less focused on doctors. For example, if we're freaked out about doctors, there's always going to be a need for a doctor. And what I see is the possibility of them using AI in tandem so that they
already exists.
Right. They have more time in person with someone, which is what we need more. I think, again, we have to try to stay on the hopeful side or else we're all going to not get out of bed anymore.
It's true. It's true. You know what's hopeful? That artists are making art. And you know how we know that? Because B, today, I called it your book birthday. You are out with your first book today. First, it is called The Book of Possibilities, Words of Wisdom on the Road to Becoming. And in this book, you challenge the idea of a role model, and instead you say, let's explore the idea of being a possibility model. What does that mean?
So for me, whenever I would get called a role model, I always flinched because it felt like there's so much responsibility, so much pressure to be a role model. Half the time, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm figuring it out. I'm making mistakes. So I felt much more comfortable saying, I'm a possibility model. I'm a model of what it looks like to be a woman who's a Black woman in whatever given space I'm in, or to be a divorced mother raising 2 young girls, or to be a woman who had a career in healthcare and now is on the social and talking about her book, right? I'm a possibility model. Doesn't mean I know everything, but I'm just showing possibilities of where things could go, what life can look like. And that's really what's at the crux of the book is it's so easy for us to identify the obstacles and the reasons why we can't do something or why we can't change. But the book is kind of an offering for people to excavate and look into the nooks and crannies of their lives and see where is possibility in the big and small moments, and does that lead to something where you can maybe change, do something new, do something better? So possibilities at the heart of the book, to be hopeful, as you said.
Oh my gosh, that's a great way to end.
Thank you.
A huge congratulations.
Thank you so
I hope
much.
you are so proud of yourself. We are so
feeling it.
proud of you. The book,
you.
it's called The Book of Possibilities, and studio audience, you are in luck because you're going home with your copy today.
And no better place to celebrate than being here with you all. So thank you for having me on today.
No,
This
it's
was
our
an
pleasure to
honor.
have you here.
What an honor.
What
What an honor. I'm not going to put it out there, but they might want to ask you to sign it on commercial break. I'm just saying.
I'll get my pen. I'll get my
we'll
pen
see.
out.
We'll see. All right. It's a big moment. It's a big moment. Okay, everybody, after the break, a look at the thrilling new docuseries about shipwreck salvagers searching for treasure on Nova Scotia's Death Coast. Fascinating chat coming up after this. Next guest is a third-generation shipwreck hunter who goes searching for legendary lost fortunes on Nova Scotia's most dangerous coastline. Now, his latest expedition is captured in a new series coming out today and tomorrow on USA Network and on Crave. Take a look.
Diving in these waters is like nothing anybody has ever seen. For hundreds of years, there have been tens of millions of dollars worth of coins sitting on the bottom. The Mary and the Joseph and the Neptune have never been found. I know there's something here.
Please welcome the star of the Death Coast, Captain Jeff McKinnon. Okay, this is an incredibly niche profession, but I understand that you have a real blood connection to it. How did you get into this line of work?
Oh, my family's been doing it for a long time. Actually, all the way back to when the McKinnons were in Scotland. So the McKinnons were seafaring people, and we kind of developed that into, well, here I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
The story's really fascinating because ship hunting was actually banned in that area for, 10 years or so. So tell us about the restrictions, but then also how you managed to still get the exclusive rights to hunt there.
I'm persistent. The act was repealed about 15 years ago, and it was a little short-sighted. It didn't address global warming or those types of issues, or looting from weekend divers. The problem is that somebody might go out on a weekend and find something that could potentially change history, and it'll end up in their basement. It'll never see the light of day. I was very compelling to the province. Over 15 years, I lobbied to get our rights back, and just basically using common sense principles. I worked on shallow water wreck sites that are at the mercy of changing weather patterns and global warming, and again, looting. Mm-hmm. And if we don't recover the material now, it'll be lost forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's profound to think about how far things can end up drifting and moving. And yet we have this vision of like maybe you going down there and getting stuff and just like, going and like getting money for it. But that's not the way it works. You actually have to bring everything you find back to the Nova Scotia government. You don't get to keep these treasures at all. So what is the motivation? no offense, but like, is that the motivation?
I think I have 3 reasons I do this. One, most importantly, it's in my blood. It's my legacy. That was my trade. While people were going to university or trade school, I was on the water doing this, working with some of the most wonderful scientists in the world, some of the most wonderful archaeologists, geophysicists, and this became my trade, courtesy of my father. The second reason, obviously, is the preservation of history and getting the artifacts off the bottom before they're lost to either storms or looting. And thirdly, I work with veterans who, from both sides, from the United States and Canada, on screen and off, people who suffer from, some of them, from PTSD and traumatic brain injury. And I found that giving them a mission builds camaraderie. It brings them back to the place where they were most comfortable. Because what we do is high energy, high octane, and it kicks in their skill sets. And these guys and gals are some of the highest trained people in the world, and it complements shipwreck hunting very well. That's basically the reason.
So cool.
It can't be replaced by AI.
Can't be replaced by AI. Good one.
I brought something.
Okay.
Oh, you did.
I brought a coin so you could have a look at what we look for.
Oh, wow.
Take a look at this.
Okay, so
Can we see this?
we're going to take a look at this. Okay, what's the story with this coin?
That is an 8 L's a Q. That would have been part of the consignment on the Chameau that was heading to Louisbourg. Now, for those of you who don't know, Louisbourg is a fortress. It was a French fortress in Cape Breton, and they were having a hard time. Most of the people in the fortress hadn't been paid for 3-4 months. People were starving. That money was meant to get to Louisbourg and help take care of that problem. It didn't make it, unfortunately, and in my mind, it changed the whole series of events in the New World. I think that if that money had reached Louisbourg, the French presence in Louisbourg would have been much, much greater, and then things like the Louisiana Purchase probably would have never happened. We might have all been speaking French. Who knows?
Do you know what this will be worth?
That right there is they're priceless.
They're priceless.
Yeah.
So when we go back to the series, what are you looking for in this hunt?
Well, I like to go back to the Chameau because that's where my father took me first. It's kind of part of me. And half of the material or half of the treasure that was on the Chameau was never found. And I really think that with some hard work and good looks, I think we might find it. So.
Well, Captain Jeff, thank you so much for bringing us aboard. Very cool. We're going to stay in touch. We want to let everybody watching know that The Death Coast comes out tonight on USA Network, and it streams on Crave tomorrow. It is going to be one heck of a ride, so we certainly hope that you tune in. Next, we're going to be finding out why the Dubai chocolate bar went viral.
Can I stay for that?
You can stay for that.
Yes, you can.
Give us some coins. We'll give you some chocolate. We're all happy. Let's take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Thank you so much.
So cool.
One of the best things about social media is it introduces us to the new things. This year, the trendiest treat that took over our feeds was Dubai chocolate bar. Oh, so you guys have heard about it, right? So the viral sensation inspired countless desserts. So today, we're going to see what the hype is all about.
Here to show us how to make TikTok's gourmet sweet is baker Gavin Knox. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, Gavin, this Dubai chocolate craze, I think, is a perfect example of the power of social media in today's world. So let's start by explaining what this global trend is all about.
Sure, as you said, it's global, it's all over the place. It was originally the brainchild of a British-Egyptian entrepreneur called Sarah Hamouda. And while she was pregnant, she was having cravings, but she wanted something a little bit different.
She's pregnant, okay.
Yeah, she was pregnant and she came up with these ideas. And what it was to kind of revisit flavors from her childhood. So their chocolate bars filled with lots of flavors of Southwest Asia and North Africa. Now, the one that's become most famous has become known as the Dubai chocolate bar. And that happened with a social media influencer, got one of the chocolate bars, did an AMSR video of it, which blew up. I mean, it literally lit the internet on fire. And everybody wanted one. And so it's kind of weaved its way into the culinary world in drinks, cookies, bars, you name it, it's taken off.
That's incredible. And you brought us a Dubai chocolate bar. Can we dive in?
Dive in, break it apart.
We break it apart.
You can break it apart, get the money shot of it. So what you've got then is a milk chocolate bar, and it's filled. So I'll just leave you have a moment there. It's a milk chocolate bar filled with what's called Gataifi pastry, and this is similar to phyllo. It's not quite, but it's shredded up and it's crispy, mixed with pistachio cream then and filled up. So good, so good.
I've never tasted anything like this, but it is perfection.
So good. Okay, I know you guys are going in the right places. Very good. All right. I've seen a lot of people on social media, including Erin from the Housewives, the Real Housewives of New York, try this. So if we want to try this at home, what do we need?
Okay, so with it being a chocolate bar, of course, the most important thing is a chocolate bar mold. These now you can get pretty much anywhere. You can get them online, any kind of craft shops or bake shops. And if you want to go down the kind of more professional route, authentic route, you need to temper your chocolate, which means kind of melting it and then reducing its temperature and bringing it back up to a certain temperature. If that's all too much hassle, because it's supposed to be fun, you can use chocolate-flavored candy melts. These, again, you can get from baking stores or hobby shops. It takes out the whole tempering issue. You just melt it, put it in your mold, and then stuff it with your pistachio kataifi filling, cap it off, and you're good to go.
And then Bob's your uncle.
Okay, let's talk about this pistachio filling. You say it's really easy to make. It is incredible. So how do you do it?
Okay, so the main basis is kataifi, which, as I said, is this Southwest Asian pastry. And in a pan, then you're going to, you fry it up with some butter, and you want to get it nice, toasty, crispy, golden, so maybe between 8 to 10 minutes. And with that, then you add in what's called pistachio cream. Now, that's not so much pistachio butter. It's almost like it's mixed with milk and white chocolate, so it's creamier. Add in some tahini, mix that up, and you get the pistachio kataifi filling.
Okay, so where can I get this? Like, where can I get that?
So again, online is a great resource, but a lot of Southwest Asian grocery shops have it, and of course, because of the trend, a lot of the larger stores are actually carrying it out along with the pistachio cream. They're jumping on the bandwagon.
All right. So you guys can make it. We don't just have to watch us eat it. It's very nice. All right. All right. So Gavin, you've made us some filling, and we're gonna use it to make strawberry cups, which are another viral trend. So
you're gonna get in there. So strawberry cups inside the cups in front of you. Just drizzle some of the chocolate sauce on the edge. Don't squeeze too tight. I don't want any accidents going on. Like
no.
And then once you have that in there, it's basically make your own adventure. With the strawberries and the kataifi filling in front of you, you layer it up. So you can have a layer of strawberries.
Sorry, I'm a lefty. We got problems with each other. So get out of my way. I'm always trying to make my cups. Okay.
So you just doesn't matter. You just build it up in there, and you can add in your various layers until you get to however much you want. This is so really nice good to serve guests. Because
I'm almost about to use my hands to do.
It's almost like jump and go. So you can just add it in there. And there's no real expertise and no skill involved.
You can be creative, right? And just
as much as you want. And these have also taken off because they're gonna, as I said, grab and go. A lot of people can just kind of pick them up and get the flavors.
I would put this on everything. This little pistachio thing. Okay. As you pointed out, there's so many different variations of this Dubai chocolate trend. So tell us a few more examples of how you've incorporated actually one into a classic Canadian treat.
Yes. So this I'm quite proud of because it's my own little tinkering around. And this is a Dubai chocolate butter tart.
Oh my.
So I should hasten to add, there are no raisins in it. No raisins. No raisins.
If you guys weren't jealous before, you're gonna be jealous now.
Look at this. Tell us about this. Oh my goodness.
We've got basically like a chocolate short pastry in there and a layer of the filling.
Did it go all over? Okay, keep going.
Layer of the kataifi filling, the butter tart then on top and drizzled with some chocolate. So it's a meeting of those classic worlds and new worlds in there.
Guys, this is so unfair. So we're moving on to something else that's also delicious. The next one sounds
I'm having a religious experience. I really am.
We're moving on to something just as delicious and decadent. We're talking about the Dubai chocolate cheesecake?
Yes. So again, it's one of those classic meets modern Frankenstein-y desserts. So I've got a baked cheesecake here, and instead of the traditional crumb layer, what I've done is the kataifi and pistachio layer, so it's crispy. Your baked cheesecake, then you have the pistachio filling layer, more chocolate, and I shall just leave you to it at that.
Listen, the crust, everything. I know this is wrong.
Melissa's not in this segment. We're just like, bleh. Anyway, okay, you've taken the dessert trend and you've turned it into a cocktail because why not?
Yes, why not? Indeed.
Okay, tell us about it.
So the Dubai chocolate trend, not just about food. This, you can get it to drink. So this is a dessert cocktail, the Dubai chocolate martini. So it gives you. Is that good reaction?
Yeah, cheers to you. Cheers me. Cheers to you.
We're in trouble, girl.
Yeah, I'm being sober. So yeah, in this then, we've got the textural elements. You have the toasted kataifi and the pistachio cream. And then the drink itself, we have vodka. There's pistachio syrup, some chocolate liqueur in there, and some cream to give you all that kind of rich textural notes of it.
Gavin, you are a delight, and you are surprising, like a baking genius, I tell you.
I like to make an impression.
Thank you so much for being so good. So incredible. You're gonna download all of these recipes, but you have to stay with us because after the break, how to be more productive in your workday by understanding and using your brain better. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Cheers.
Welcome back. Have you ever wondered what peak mental performance truly looks like? Well, today's guest is here to share what she calls the missing manual for using your brain better at work.
We love that. She's an applied neuroscientist and the author of the brand new book, The Working Brain, Optimize Your Workday Performance. Please welcome to the social, Dr. Bryn Weingard. Welcome.
The way that we work, you say that we need to work according to our brain's natural cycles. What exactly does that mean?
So we used to think that the brain worked on a cycle like the body, right? That night, day, light, dark, sleep, wake cycles that were 24 hours in length.
Yeah.
And what we found from sleep research was that it's actually much shorter. So it's about 90 minutes with a downtime of about 20. And so there's actually 4 phases that your brain goes through cyclically all day long. The arousal phase, which is when you're getting all your attentional resources together, you're starting to try to concentrate, you can get really distracted right then. The peak phase, which is amazing, that's the fun piece. That's when you're getting everything done, checking things off. Then you go through this stress response phase. This is when you start to feel like irritable, hungry, hangry. You might have a craving, right? You don't know why, but you feel it. And then there is the ultradian healing response, it's called. I call it something else. But this usually is about 15 to 20 minutes, and this is when you need to take a break. Your brain needs more breaks than your body does. And so I call them in my book, I call them the climb, the peak, the fall, and the valley.
Fascinating. 90-20. Okay.
Yep.
So what if you are the ambitious type of person and you are kind of hard on yourself and you don't want to stop working because a lot of us I'm just going to push through. It's high pressure situation. So what are the negative consequences of just, you know what, I'm not going to rest and I'm going to power through this?
Yes, well, there are negative consequences. That's what you need to know. So many people don't think so. They feel like it's such a benign thing to do. You do need to take breaks because what happens at the neural level is you start to develop like debris in actually plaques and debris that need to be cleared out. So it's like deferred maintenance, if you will, in your brain. And so you actually need these breaks about every 90 minutes. But we think if you're already stressed, if your day has already been long, if you're using a lot of technology, that's actually shrunk down. So it's not a whole 90 minutes, it's much shorter than that.
Wow. Okay.
Well, let's get into that because we talk a lot on the show about how we're being impacted by technology, but how is it shaping or changing our brains?
It is shaping our brains, it's changing it entirely. So that 90 minutes goes down to about 45. So what we think is your working time, the attention span you have to get things done, 45 minutes of that climb, peak, and fall, followed by that same 15 to 20 minutes of break time that you need. So you have less uptime, the same amount of downtime required, less ability to get things done. So that can be really challenging. And we have a graph for you just about how this works, how shortened this really is in terms of how tech is creating. And we all know how that feels, right?
So we're now like on the red level as opposed to the gray. Okay,
yeah.
got it.
So you need a lot more breaks than you think, and you need to treat your day like a series of sprints, not a marathon.
Got it.
I feel like I've had this conversation with people many times, the night owl versus the early bird. What's the real deal on that?
It's real. Yeah, so it's called chronobiology.
Okay.
Everyone has different neurophysiology, everyone has different chronobiology, and that's because historically humans, social species, we needed in the tribe somebody to be awake all the time.
Oh.
So somebody has to be awake, so we're all different.
That's really interesting.
Oh my God. Can it change? Can it change too?
It does.
It does change.
Yes, it changes.
I guess I was the person who was supposed to be night watch because I'm the night owl, baby.
Yes.
Okay, so we know the problem is too much tech and too much stress. So what's the solution to optimize our brain's productivity cycle?
I call it the MERIT framework. It's in the book, but it stands for move, eat, rest, interact, and think. Move is all about the idea that you have to to have movement snacks. I want you to move as often as you eat. I want you to think about moving all the time. Fidgeting is great, more movement.
Okay.
Eating, you've heard it all before, but nutrient-dense foods that are colorful to the eye naturally, and prioritizing protein, of course, over carbs. But the other thing that is really helpful for your microbiome, your gut, and therefore your brain is fiber. So eating a lot more fiber. Okay. Rest, I want you to take those breaks so you don't get that, stress and the cortisol that comes out. We don't want that. The other thing that our research shows is that you need more sleep than you think. So statistically, you're sleep deprived. Men over 25 need 7 to 9 hours a night.
And how much do
women? 10. 10? 10 hours.
I've heard this.
I'm getting 10.
You need more sleep. It's the first thing that women give up. We need more of it. Interact is really important. So, especially a digitally mobilized world, we take evidence of how socially supported we are by people who are in front of us physically. And if we can smell them and interact with them and so on, that's how our brain knows if we are socially supported or not. And then think is the piece around mindset. It's the idea that, that narrative that runs in your mind all day long that is like a voice talking to you. That's the default mode network, and it can talk to you nicely or not, but you train it either way.
Okay. Wow. There's a lot that's connecting to our earlier segment, about like AI and et cetera. Okay, so you were just saying interacting with people. Your brain actually knows the difference between you interacting with a real person versus a machine. So what's your take on returning to work?
Oh, I love
versus working from home.
I'm in favor. I'm in favor of going back at least 2 days a week. We say 2 days a week is critical. It doesn't have to be full time, but at work is really important. I say make friends at work. That's going to increase your productivity, your mental wellness, things like even your immunity, how smart you test, so many things. So it's so good to have friends at work, to interact during the day with people, especially in the workplace. Very important.
Wow. Okay, finally, I love that you said 2 days a week. Like,
at least 2.
Calibrate this for all the people who are like, yeah. Anyway, finally, you say that there should be one thing that we should be doing for ourselves every day. And I don't know if everyone's thought about this, which is giving ourselves opportunities for mini rejections.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
I want you to lean right into rejection, change, hardship, challenge. I want you to microdose some of that so that what you're doing is you are testing yourself before the world tests you. And there's a reason to do it, okay?
Okay.
When you do hard things, you get something that's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's a growth factor that is brain-derived. It only happens when you've had a stressful time, when you're psychologically uncomfortable. You've put yourself in the way of that a little bit. And what that does is increase your neuroplasticity. So BDNF increases your growth, your ability to adapt, your ability to actually change with the times, so you become a better, smarter, stronger person.
Brain resilience training.
Wow.
That's right.
Oh my God, that's your next book.
Okay, good.
Dr. Bryn, this has been really, really, literally mind-blowing. So thank you so much for this.
Thanks for having me.
Really cool. Okay, the book is available right now, and studio audience, you're in luck because you're going home with your copy today. I know. How lucky are you? All right, why don't we take a break? We'll be back right after this. We need a commercial cam on this show. If you at home were wondering what happens on commercials, craziness happens on commercials. That's what happens.
Yep.
Welcome back. Tomorrow on the show, we've got scrappy spring recipes to minimize waste and save you money. Also, we'll be getting up close and personal with Jasmine Reyna, who's the content creator and also the star of the hit comedy series Late Bloomer. What a show today. Be Quammie with her book of the Book of Possibilities. Dr. Bryn Weingart, The Working Brain. Gavin with chocolates. We had ship hunting. I mean,
it was good.
It was a full show.
But now we gotta go to bed because we gotta get 10 hours of sleep. 10 hours.
Thank you all. You all were amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We're on Crave. We're on YouTube. We've got our podcast as well, so please catch us there. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Take care, everybody.